Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
If you love the Selling from the Heart podcast, then you know how much we value authentic leadership and building relationships with heart. But here's the thing. Great leadership doesn't stop with sales. It starts at the top with CEOs who inspire trust, create meaningful cultures, and lead with purpose.
That's why we're excited to invite you to get involved with the Culture from the Heart podcast. On Culture from the Heart, we celebrate CEOs who are transforming their companies by putting people first. And we're asking you to help us find them.
Do you work for an incredible leader? Know a CEO who builds culture from the heart? Nominate them to be interviewed on the show. Together, let's spotlight the leaders who make businesses thrive by leading authentically.
So head over to cultureFromTheHeart.com to submit your nomination today. Because when leadership starts with the heart, culture and success follow. Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
We got all kinds of things going on. It's just so nice to be able to soak up some warm weather. We're going to have a great time here today, Darrell, let me tell you.
Connie Kadansky is in the house. We're going to talk about some trust-based influence. And I'll tell you what, the influence that our friends out in the Selling from the Heart community are having. If you took a look at the community that is literally all over the world, it is just so exciting to see this body of sales professionals, sales leaders who say, hey, I believe in being genuine. I believe in building trust, all of the things we talk about at Selling from the Heart. And it's always so much fun to interact with folks throughout the week.
Yeah, I just want to give a special shout out. Actually, the book behind you. So if you're watching, you'll notice that Darrell's got a book behind him called The Scarcity Brain by Michael Easter. So this is a shout out to my new friend, Rodney Barton. There's a reason why I'm giving Rodney a shout out. He's into rucking, R-U-C-K-I-N-G.
Oh,
I found out about rucking through Michael Easter. It's where you go backpacking with weights in your backpack. So Rodney, I appreciate you. Thank you for being a great leader who just leads with his heart. But I thought about you when I saw that book.
Very good. Well, I love that book as well. I'm really enjoying it. And Rodney, appreciate you and everybody in the Selling from the Heart community. Just what an amazing, amazing community. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to love our guest today. We're honored to welcome a true trailblazer in the world of sales coaching, Connie Kadansky. She's the president of Exceptional Sales Performance and a master certified coach with nearly 30 years of experience helping sales professionals overcome the silent killer of sales success called reluctance. Connie's not just a coach, she's a confidence builder. She empowers individuals and teams to lead with purpose, emotional intelligence, and best of all, heart. Through her work, she's guided thousands to move beyond fear, step into their authentic selves, and reframe selling as an act of service and trust. And she's here with us today. Connie, welcome to Selling from the Heart. It's great to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Likewise, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, going to be so much fun. And as we get started, Connie, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers right up front. And that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
To sell from the heart means that the salesperson comes from an unconditional positive regard for their prospect, customer, or client. And that they really genuinely have taken themselves out of the way. It's not about them. And they are there for the best for everyone.
Hey, you know what I like about what you just said? And I'm a word guy, and I just love how you just emphasize genuinely.
Yeah.
It's just, we got to genuinely care about that person on the other side. But there's also another word that I picked up on is unconditionally. You got to unpack this a little bit for us, if you don't mind, because this is one of the very first words you used was unconditionally.
Yes, unconditional positive regard is something that Carl Rogers brought forward many, many years ago. And it's meaning that we accept people as they are. And you think about prospects, and with salespeople and more the seasoned we get, sometimes people can get a little bit cynical. And the minute they hear a prospect say something, their judgment comes up and they think, oh, no, it's that kind. No. No. So do you relate to that?
Amen.
I feel like that every time I talk to Larry.
Oh, stop.
I think that's incredibly powerful, though, just to be able to unconditional positive regard. Like that's something you just want to almost write on a Post-it note and stick on your dashboard, on your monitor, because in today's world, it is in the pressure of sales, it's really hard to keep that unconditional positive regard going throughout a whole day. I'm curious, what do you do personally to stay in that place?
Well, the first thing is it's not about me. And just to remind myself, it's not about me. And then also is really no matter who's in front of you, they're fascinating people. So really come at it from a fascinating perspective. And this individual could turn out to be my favorite client, and just really bring it forward in that regard and get curious. How might they surprise me? So, coming at it from that perspective, because I listen to some of my clients' calls, and I can hear in certain times when they're starting to judge someone. I was talking to someone this morning, and he is in the recruiting industry for brokerage, and he said, this guy was so full of himself. Well, you just kind of get fascinated because people pick up on how we're thinking about them. And we really need to be careful about that.
And you know what's interesting about that, when people can pick up on this, is it becomes our tonality, our voice inflection, and then all of that comes out really quick. So if you don't think people are picking up on it, I'm here to tell you otherwise. And I think Connie would agree that when we prejudge these people based on what we're hearing, they're paying attention to what comes out of our mouth next and how we're delivering it.
Well, and to yes and that, how many times do companies kind of stick their toe in the water with salespeople and whatever's going on? And it could turn into some multi-million dollar project, et cetera. So just because somebody may be calling in or have an admin call in to get a little bit of information, we just need to be cognizant of unconditional positive regard with everyone that we speak with.
I love that phrase. Love that phrase. And one of the things I noticed, Connie, is right behind you on the wall for our friends who are watching on YouTube. And by the way, if you're not watching on YouTube, you got to go over and subscribe. There's a lot of good things happening on Selling from the Heart YouTube. But hey, you've got the word curiosity on the wall behind you. And I'm curious, what role does that play in all of this that we're talking about, this attitude of curiosity?
Well, curiosity is an emotion. Many people do not know that. But think about when a salesperson comes into a conversation curious, instead of the all-knowing one that knows how to fix everything and move from there. But that curiosity is how people develop that trust-based influence of just where people just asking questions and labeling and getting them to really share, and having those kind of different techniques that help to open the door. Then it's curious, and it's people are not in a fear place. They get curious too.
Yes. I got to go down this road. So sorry, Connie, I'm going down this road. But I just thought of something. I'm a big Ted Lasso junkie and binge watched all the Ted Lassos before. And I think if I quote this right, he said something along the lines of be curious, not judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
It is so true. It is so true. And I've even had clients admit that if they hear a couple words out of a prospect's mouth, they think, oh no, they're price shopping, they're tire kicking.
Mm-hmm.
And we just really have to discipline ourselves. And you know what I've been thinking about too is, and I heard this quote, and believe it or not, it came from Clint Eastwood. And he said, no, self self-respect precedes self-discipline.
Mm.
And so when we have self-respect, and I think this falls really into selling from the heart. When we have self-respect, we'll have respect for other people, but also we'll have self-discipline around unconditional positive regard and listening and the different components that cause the prospects to lean in.
Mm. I like that. And, I'm just thinking about self-respect leads to self-discipline. In a lot of ways, respecting yourself then goes back to knowing yourself, doing the inner work, being somebody who follows through and is trustworthy, and all of this. I love this concept, Connie, of influence, of trust-based influence. So we've always said that the job, John Maxwell, the leadership guru, said leadership is influence. I believe that sales is influence. All of these things, influence is really important. Just sketch out for us what trust-based influence looks like. What's unique about trust-based influence and that mindset and that approach?
Well, and it's really having tactical empathy, and that it comes from the Chris Voss techniques, tactical empathy, and it's really a mindset, which is the art of influencing through articulating how the prospect is thinking and feeling about their situation without agreeing, disagreeing, or sympathizing. So it's that art of influence by articulating how they are thinking and feeling about their situation. And one of the things that we've all heard active listening, where it's been taught, well, I heard you say this. Well, I encourage my clients, keep the I out of it. The minute I say I, it's my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
to be able to really listen for how they're thinking and feeling, because you guys know people buy emotionally, justify logically. So when we do that, so if we're picking up, it seems like the situation is really frustrating for you. And they'll go, yes. And so they start leaning in. And what I want to emphasize here, it's a genuine feel for that individual. And then it's using that technique that helps them feel comfortable. So they put the self-protective barrier down, and then the trust starts developing.
Hey, you know what I like about that is, and I love how you reinforce taking the word I out of this. And this is all I refer to this as like conversational competence. All the things that we're talking about has to do with elevating your conversation so that somebody becomes comfortable enough to open up and share what I call their business secrets.
Yes, absolutely. And when you look at when prospects first come and we first have that conversation, they have a self-protective barrier up, right? And then salespeople that have sales call reluctance, they have a self-protective barrier up too. So you have two people in protective mode. No wonder it's so awkward and clumsy. And so to be able to, and you brought up something, you didn't really word it, but we have to trust ourselves first. So when we trust ourselves, but the only way to develop this confidence, and you guys know it, confidence is developed through experience. And so that's why your training and coaching and my training and coaching is so important, because it shows people you've got to take action to get the experience, to get the confidence. And then they start trusting themselves and become better observers in their conversations. I like what you said, communication competency.
That's so good.
That's right. And practice. And, it's as we're recording this, I'm watching the Stanley Cup finals. Yes, I'm Canadian. Yes, I like hockey. Yes, I love this time of year. And I am confident that every team that shows up on the ice for an important game like that has spent hours and hours and hours of time practicing. And therefore, they're able to play at the highest level and win. When it comes to practicing this building trust-based influence and all of this, how do you recommend sales professionals practice effectively for this?
Well, it's strategic role play, and AI. Oh, wow. Is so helpful. The other day I was working with some solar sales guys. So they sell solar here in Arizona, and where there are no excuses for salespeople anymore not to be prepared for a sales call. No excuses whatsoever. Because if they can use AI and prompt it, they can ask, what is going to be a main concern of XYZ, so that the salesperson can speak to that concern. And it was interesting. One of the guys had an appointment with an 89-year-old gentleman and is like, well, you know what? I'm going to die. And if it breaks down, I'm not going to do anything about it. It was the service guy for solar. And so we really had a good conversation about that. And so I even asked you guys, how much role play do you integrate into your coaching and training?
Okay. So now here's what's interesting. If you want to make salespeople squirm, besides asking them to go out and consistently prospect, tell them you're going to start role playing with them and watch what starts to happen. It's unfortunate because we incorporate role playing. We incorporate, hey, walk me through. This is a situation. This is what's going to, this is what we expect. You're going to go ask these questions. This is role play this all out. And it's so interesting how they dodge it. It's how it doesn't have to be that way, but it goes back to practice. You're going to become better at this. The more you role play the responses, more you role play the questions, more you role play the situations.
Well, and really, this sales is about mastery. Salespeople cannot just wing it anymore and go on a hope and a prayer. And the way that I have a small group, so 5 people, where I always say vulnerability, and I personally learn when I mess up. And so it's not about performance. And so if we can create a psychologically safe space that is not about performance, and using AI to create genuine role plays for that industry, I have been able to really do that in a group, and where they're learning and they recognize, and it's, what did you learn from that? And you have the observers that are learning. And again, and you guys know this, you've been around and had your podcast and books, it's mastery. And so I think it's our responsibility to start talking about that and elevating this sales into, this is something you master.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Role play reluctance. New term.
There we go.
Well, but this is something we got to to embrace. And, you know, it's interesting, and in role plays I've participated in and role plays that I've led, I think one of the most interesting roles to play in that scenario is actually playing the role of the prospect or the customer, because I think we have the opportunity in that to sit in that seat and imagine what it would be like to be that person on the other side of the kitchen table talking about, you know, switching to solar energy or whatever that is. I think there's something that is valuable in role play that goes beyond just the sales skills, but also being able to walk a mile in the prospect's shoes. I'm curious your perspective on that, Connie.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Yes. To recognize what's going on and what does the prospect need? What do they need?
Mm-hmm.
And they need clarity, and they need the salesperson to be interested in what their goals and objectives are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think this all ties back to, again, it ties back to that word that's on your wall. It's curiosity. Is we got to bring, as salespeople, you can't help somebody unless you truly know the issues, the challenges, the goals they want to achieve, which means you got to be curious. You got to ask a bunch of questions, and you can't leave it at one or two questions and think all of a sudden you got the solution for all of this, because the answer usually lies 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deep. So you got to be curious. You got to ask great questions. I don't care what industry you are in sales.
Well, and it's more fun to be curious. And how do we know? I mean, I think if most salespeople would just get out of the way and just stop talking and just listen. I sell an assessment. It's the echo listening quotient assessment. And one of my clients said to me recently, because he likes connecting with people. I mean, he just likes the connection. Well, we all do, right? And he said, I need to stop when somebody says, "Oh, I went golfing in Idaho," and then he always had a tendency to go, "Oh, I've been there too." And it's like, no, because the minute we do that, we take the spotlight off of them, put it on us, instead of saying, "It seems like that was a fascinating trip you had." And so that, it's just those little nuances that make trust-based influence again.
Yeah, I went golfing in Idaho. I'm just kidding. You know, this trust-based influence concept is so powerful. What are some other elements to trust-based influence that you think are really critical for us to consider here today?
Well, in the prospecting arena, so that's where I work with people and overcoming that reluctance and to become confident and comfortable in initiating contact. Nobody's cold calling anymore unless they are just dodos, right? There's just so much more way to get a warm call. And one of the things is using a no question that's really a yes. So salespeople who love the yes, it's silly. That's what I say. It's silly to love the yes, but a no-based question is, so think about it. And I always say, a coach said to me once, and this has really stuck with me, hold it lightly. Are you opposed to sharing with me XYZ? Are you opposed to sharing with me how you handle XYZ? And when you say it friendly and lightly, are you opposed? I mean, the majority of people will say, will tell you. And even if, we get email inquiries and people want to talk to us via email, are you opposed to jumping on a quick call and I'll answer all your questions at once? Nobody ever says no. So it's just tone. And I think one of you mentioned the tone early on. Is our tone makes all the difference in how we influence people too. And do we have that fun tone that does have that unconditional positive regard? It makes a huge difference.
Hey, I just learned something, Darrell. Hey, Connie, I'm stealing that. Are you opposed? I'm going to start integrating that and see what happens.
Oh, do because if somebody calls up and they'll say, I've talked to 4 or 5 people and they're still calling, right? Why are they still calling? Are you opposed to sharing with me what haven't you heard from them that you want to hear from me? It's like it's so wonderful to be able to get to the nitty gritty. So yes, try it out. Let me know.
I love it.
Hey, Darrell, are you opposed to using that?
No, Larry. No, I'm not. Well, hey, Connie, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I know our guests are thinking, how do I get more Connie Kadansky in my life? So it brings up a question. Connie, are you opposed to sharing how we can learn more?
So you can LinkedIn, Connie Kadansky, and I do have a newsletter on there. You know what? The first day I put up that article, I got 1,200 subscribers.
Wow.
So I have an article newsletter on there. You can subscribe to that, and you can certainly pick up the phone and call me, exceptionalsales.com. And my phone number is on there. And believe it or not, I do answer my phone unless I'm otherwise preoccupied, because see, a lot of salespeople are going, nobody answers their phone anymore. Well, that's the salespeople. We got to figure it out, don't we? So that's how you get in touch
That's
with me. Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, Connie, thank you so much for investing in us today. This has been fantastic. You're a true champion of selling from the heart. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What a great conversation. Larry, are you opposed to having a deeper conversation about what we learned here from Connie today?
Hey, I always tell everyone when you listen to the Selling from the Heart podcast, you're going to walk away with nuggets.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of nuggets that we had discussed here with Connie, but Darrell, I'm still going back to this. Are you opposed? There's just something about it that's like ingrained in my head right now.
Ask a no question. But this whole concept of saying, hey, we want to develop trust-based influence, unconditional positive regard, curiosity, really powerful concepts here. And I challenge everybody, you might want to hit the rewind button on this and take some notes. Definitely reach out to Connie, because these are the things in a post-trust world. Someone once said we're selling in a post-trust world, that is really, really critical that we develop trust-based influence, and we do it early on in the conversation. So many great things here today.
Yeah, and it just underlines, I've always asked salespeople, sales leaders, executives, are you in the people business and relationship building business? And overwhelmingly, everyone says yes. Well, the things we talked about today with Connie have everything to do with developing your people and your relationship building skills.
They absolutely do. Well, thank you. Speaking of people and relationships, thank you to everybody in the Selling from the Heart community. And if you've listened this far, that is you. You're part of this community. We appreciate you. Would you do us a favor? Head over to YouTube. If you haven't checked out YouTube, go to Selling from the Heart on YouTube. Click the subscribe button. Drop us a comment in there. We'd love to interact with you. We've got all kinds of shorts and things that are going to keep you not only entertained, but also inspired to sell more. Great things coming up on the Selling from the Heart podcast. So make sure to stay tuned. Larry, we're keeping it hot all summer long.
Voice said we're going to keep fresh voices coming your way with new insights to all help you sell from the heart.
Absolutely. Well, till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, specifically build trust-based influence. And most of all,
Sell from the heart.